Hi again, wonderful parents. One of the other things I've had a few parents asking me about is writing and how to best support your young writer so that you're encouraging them but helping them also build skills. One of the things I would suggest is start off by having them pick something they want to write about. Okay, sometimes if they get an assignment from me that says, okay, you have to write about this topic, that can automatically make them shut down. So my idea would be find something they love to write about. Bearded dragons, robots, a princess, whatever it is, let them pick the topic, okay? And if we're just working on writing skills, they can pick the topic and then have them brainstorm. And they can start by doing a sketch if that helps. So they might say, oh, okay, I wanna write about the time when I was building a tree house. Okay, so I'm gonna start to draw a quick little sketch, okay? Then if they're a beginning writer, they can then start to label their drawing. So tree, okay, well, what does it start with? And even if it's just the first letter, okay, T, and then a house, okay. Now, our writers, even our kindergartners, are writing a lot more than this, but if this might be a good way to get them started, if they're reluctant about writing. Okay, start to label the things in your drawing. Okay, well, I see a house, a tree, is there a main character? You can start to ask questions to keep them going. What is that main character doing? Well, I'm the main character. Here I am, and I'm building, and then I'm gonna invite some friends. Okay, so we're adding things. Now we're gonna start to write. All right, we've got our idea. Here we go. So now we wanna try to write full sentences, and sometimes it helps if they say the sentence to themselves, to you, or to themselves out loud first. So they might say, okay, I was building a treehouse. And you stop right there and say, that's an awesome sentence. Give them lots of praise. How do we need to start? What was your first word? I. Okay. So let's say they go, I was, we're going to sound it out. Was. Now notice I'm not stopping them to correct them yet. Okay. Because we want to build some confidence first. So I was, awesome job. I was, and we're going to sound out the words. So even if they don't know how to spell was yet, they're sounding it out, they're using their phonics skills, that's great. Don't stop that, don't correct it right away. Let them sound it out first, okay? And what I've taught the kids to do too, is let's say they've put I was, and they know how to do I was, let's say. Make sure to leave a space, they'll put their finger down, was. So they sounded it out. Building, that's a really hard word. Sound it out. B, which way does the bump go? So you can kind of guide them along their way. Or if they're feeling pretty confident, say, okay, you try to write the sentence first. I'll come back and check on you in a few minutes. And again, you come over and they've written, I was build. I hear a ding. I hear an N. A, tree, house. Whoa, I'm gonna give them tons of praise. Look at that capital I, you remembered your capital I. Look at those spaces. I love how you sounded out was, okay? And was is a word you're probably gonna use a lot. Let's write that down on a note card so that you can keep it with you as part of your word wall, because at school we have a wall up with all the words that are hard to spell, that are usually sight words. That means they don't follow the phonetics. So was, that's how it should be spelled if it's phonetic, right? So we'll say, I don't know why, we just have to memorize it. So you can give it to them on a card. So again, I haven't crossed it out, I haven't made them erase it, but I might write it up here for them so they can always have it, and then say, okay, so this is actually how it's spelled. Then they'll go back when they're ready and they'll say, oh, was. And they can always have that card with them for next time. Okay, building, great job of sounding it out. Now building is a difficult word to spell. That's for a couple years later. Don't worry about making them spell this correctly right now. That's just gonna stress them out, having you make them change it. Focus, I would say, maybe on a couple of things that they can edit and let the rest of it go. Because otherwise they start to shut down, it starts to feel tedious, and honestly, they're not gonna remember building probably the next time, but was, because they use that a lot, and it's a word that they can be able to spell eventually this year. So pick a couple of the sight words. Tree. Ooh, I see a T and an E. What other letters do you hear in there? what letter makes that? Oh, an R. Maybe they put it here. Okay, but I hear the T first, so where do we need to put the R? Oh, right here. So again, you're guiding them, and maybe you just focus on the TR and you don't worry about the double E right now, because that might be too much. We've done was, we've done the TR. What goes at the end of our sentence? A period. Awesome. Now, again, if they write the word tree a lot in their stories, they're writing a lot of tree stories or a lot of house stories, write it on a card for them so they can start to have it and they'll start to memorize it. But we don't want to do too many corrections at once. And when you guys post this on Seesaw, you'll notice that I'll put in the comments, oh, tons of praise, great job of doing this or that. But then I'll pick 1 or 2 words and say, oh, I love how you sounded out was, but in my notes, I'll spell it correctly so that I'm letting them know they did a great job of sounding it out, but I'm showing them how it's really spelled. And that's a time when you can go back with them and say, oh, let's go back and edit or fix those 2 words that she put. So that's another strategy. But I don't want you to worry, especially if they're in kindergarten, that they're writing perfect spelling and perfect 10 sentences. That can be a little overwhelming at that age, and they're not going to remember a lot of the words that you're telling them anyway. So really practicing that phonics helps them with their reading as well as their writing. So have them sound out the word. One last thing, when they're sounding out a word, a lot of times if they don't know how to spell it, you'll see them underline the word. That's a strategy I have them do so that the idea is, I'm busy with some other kids right now. I can't come and help you spell every single word. So keep going. The idea is underline it if you don't know, sound it out first, underline it, and then keep going. And when I come over to you, I'll help you with the underlined words. Okay? So those are a few strategies with writing. They're doing an awesome job. And you guys are doing an awesome job. I know so many of you are trying to work at home for your jobs and help with all of these skills. It's a lot. And I also know that I've had years of training and practice with this. So if this feels overwhelming, you're not the only one. That's why I'm making these videos. Several parents are feeling a little overwhelmed. So I'm hoping this helps a little bit. If you have other questions, always feel free to text or email me, and I will do my best to model it for you. Bye.